Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Witches of the Moon. This is week 20 of season 8. So we are nearing the end of our season. Next week will be our farewell week. And so this season we decided to close on our topic videos with using your gifts for others. What does that mean and how do you go about doing so? Or what are some ways in which you share your gifts with others? Now, there are those who say that when you have a gift, it's a gift to you and you should gift it to others. But I believe that all human beings are imbued with a certain level of psychic ability and skill, but there are those of us who it comes to naturally to use or have worked to develop it to a point that it's not necessarily a gift, so to speak, in terms of something that you should not value and should just give away. There are certain workings or things that I do for people that I do for free, that I share my gift with others. And I talked a little bit about that, not last week, but the week before, when I talked about how sometimes I'll get a sensation that somebody needs to hear from me. I'll just know that that person's needing to hear some encouragement, and I will send them an encouraging word. And I do that, and I don't charge for that. Clearly, that is one way that I share my gift with others. Another way that I share my gifts is obviously doing these videos. By sharing my knowledge and my learning and my experience with you, I hope that I can help you grow, or that you will gain something from my experience that will help you on your path to finding you and empowering you. So these videos are one way in which I choose to share my gifts with others. My personal channel and my Patreon I also use to share my gifts with others. Now, sharing your gifts with others doesn't necessarily mean giving it away for free. There are services that I do charge for. I do charge for my tarot readings because that is an energy exchange in my mind, of a monetary value. That person is coming to me for some sort of guidance that's going to take something out of me. Anytime that I do a reading, whether it's with a pendulum or it's scrying work or it's a tarot read or an oracle card read, that takes a certain amount of energy for me to connect on that spiritual level to gain the best possible and clearest reading for that person. And so I don't have a qualm with charging for those services. I don't think that charging necessarily has to be monetary. If somebody wants to exchange something, like I've done readings for readings, and I've done readings for charms or spell work for, something else in exchange, like a piece of artwork or something like that, something somebody does for me. And I don't have a problem with doing that because I understand that those things take their energy and their time as much as doing a spell does for me. But another way to look at it is when I charge for a spell, I don't necessarily make a large profit off of it either. I don't charge a lot for my craft work. It depends on what they want me to do and how large the working is. Typically, I will kind of calculate how much the supplies are going to cost me because that does take money out of the pocket and mouths of my family. And so I will calculate how much the supplies are going to cost me, and then I'll add a little bit to for my time, because when I share my gift of being a speech pathologist with someone, I don't expect to do it for free. I don't go out and do therapy for free. It's my way of living, and this is my living, and this is how I feed my family. And the same goes for having gifts of a spiritual nature. I don't expect someone to do something for me for free. So I don't. Now, sometimes I'll do, like during Samhain, I will share my gift in terms of a sacrificial reads. And I do sacrificial readings during Samhain. Like I'll select a certain number of readings to give away. The first people that sign up for them, they get their readings for free because I'm doing that as a sacrifice of myself and my time in honor of Samhain and the new year and the goddess. And so that's different. If it's someone that's really in a bad place and they need guidance like right away, I will do a reading for them. So, there are certain circumstances where I share my gifts and I don't expect anything in return, but sharing your gifts means you're sharing. The definition of sharing means it's a give and take relationship with somebody. So, you're doing something and they're doing something in return. So you're sharing. So, in terms of ways I share my gifts with others, I have done everything from scrying to just sitting down and talking and listening, sometimes just being empathic gives you kind of an insight to someone's feelings. And sometimes the best gift you can give someone is to just be there and listen to what they need, or just give them that encouraging word and let them know, hey, there is someone here who cares. You're not alone. And you just never know. Sometimes just sharing your gifts means smiling at someone because you can tell that they're in need of that at that moment. Or there may be something about that person that gets your attention, and so you smile at them, and it could be something that changes their entire day, possibly even the trajectory of their entire week, month, year, or life. Uh, you just never know what's going through someone's head at any given time. I like to share my gifts with others. I like to share my learning. I like to share my knowledge. I feel I learn from you when you all leave me feedback and comments. I don't ever take anything that someone says to me unkindly unless it's like directly unkind. For example, I have a lot of people who comment on my videos that are Christian, and they're like, repent and come to Jesus. And I'm like, sorry, I've drunk that Kool-Aid, and that's not my path. I don't ever begrudge those people because they're doing what they believe is right. And I just try to take their prayers and add them to my own and say thank you. And be thankful for the fact that they're thanking me now. There have been some people who've just flat out been rude, and that's unacceptable. But um, I'm sure that what they share will come back to them, because I do believe that a certain amount of what you share forth comes back to you in a certain way. And so, I don't have a problem with people sharing their gifts and charging a fee for services because, again, it's an energy exchange. So sometimes you can put a monetary value on that. And again, we all have bills to pay and we all have things to do. I think that using your gifts for others sometimes needs to not be a charge for service. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, um, tomorrow I will be going out, even though I technically have the flu and should be wearing a mask. I'll probably wear a mask when I go out tomorrow, um, simply because the doctor told me that I should probably avoid client contact for the weekend. He said by the end of the weekend you'll be fine. But I was actually diagnosed yesterday. I've been doing my videos for the last 3 or 4 weeks today because I have the day off unexpectedly, and it's just easier for me to record them all in advance. So I just change my shirts and start over, which is why you see the same coffee cup, which is now stone cold, but I'll still drink it. But I will be doing a house cleansing tomorrow, and I do not charge for those. When someone is experiencing something such as this young lady's experiencing, and it's clear that she's very frightened, and it's clear that it's probably something that's not very good, I will go out and do that, and I do not charge for that because I consider part of what I do will come back to me. So doing this as a goodness for her, I gave her a couple of my business cards and I said, here's how you can pay me back. If you know someone that needs any of these services that I offer, here's my card, give them my card and have them contact me or have them visit my website, my shop, because I do tarot reads. I'm a Reiki master. I do pendulum readings, and offer spiritual guidance and that sort of thing. So I don't have a problem with, doing house cleansings for free, because to me that's something that's entirely different. This young lady in particular is experiencing some pretty wiggy stuff. She was sitting in the bathroom and heard kind of a in the attic above her, and then she starts hearing, and she said it stopped right above her, and she knew there was nobody in their attic, and it kind of freaked her out, so she pulled up her pants and took off out of the bathroom. And later that night she's sitting in her bed and she's looking up at her phone and she's holding it with both of her hands. She feels kind of a stinging sensation, and she kind of just reached down and sort of brushed her leg, thinking maybe she's just being irritated by the clothing or something. And then she said she felt it sharper and she felt something tug on her foot. So she sat up and pulled back the sheets to see what was going on, and she had 3 scratches down her leg. So that's just a couple of the things that she's been experiencing. She told me about a couple of other things that make me think that there's more than one spirit or entity around her in her home, and that one of them I think is protective and the other I think is maybe not so nice. So I have no problem with going out and doing that for free. I consider that part of my, I don't know, community service sort of duty sort of thing, like a civic duty. But when it comes to doing tarot reads or other services, I don't have a problem with that. I enjoy doing readings for others. I like hearing how accurate my readings are because I am an intuitive reader. I don't ask many questions. I don't want a lot of information, which is why I actually prefer to read for people that I don't know very well rather than people that I do know very well. Like, I cannot do readings for myself. That's part of the reason why I don't mind doing an exchange with another spiritual practitioner, because I know a lot of people feel they don't read well for themselves because I never know that if what I'm seeing in the cards is what I want to see or if it's actually the message I'm being given. So I prefer to have somebody read for me and I read for somebody else. I don't think I'm not of the mindset that, because you have a gift, you must do these things for free. I don't think that necessarily. I think people have talents and they have skills and they have abilities, and that we should use those gifts to help others. But that doesn't necessarily mean you should expect to do it for free and not receive anything in return. An artist doesn't paint you a picture and then, you just take it off the wall and walk home with it after an art show at a gallery. You don't walk into a hospital and the doctor's not just going to treat you and say, okay, you can go now. I mean, they're going to send you a bill. There's other things that are involved in sharing your gifts, such as supplies that are needed or things like that that take money. Like it or not, it's a monetary world that we live in. I don't have a problem with helping those out who are in desperate need. Like I said, in house cleansings, I don't charge for, but other services I do. So, depending on the circumstances. If it's a case where maybe somebody has a new home and they just want to have the house cleansed before they enter, I might say, okay, 25 bucks. I'll go out and do it. Depending on the size of the house. If it's a two-story, maybe 50. Something like that. Just enough to kind of cover whatever supplies and time that it may take me to do it, because again, it does take time away from my family and that sort of thing. And so I want to be fair about that, because I think sharing your gifts is more than just giving to others. It also involves, taking time from your family and your friends and your job and your whatever to do those things. I don't really know what else I can say about that. I do think that we should try to share our gifts with others in some form or other. And I do take Witches of the Moon and my personal channel as part of sharing the gift, is passing on the knowledge that we learn so that others may learn from us. And that's a little bit different too. Guess that's it. I think that we should share. I don't think that you should have to do it for free. I think using your gifts for others is the right thing to do, especially if it's something that can help someone. But that's my personal conscience speaking. And I think it's up to each individual practitioner to answer that call as they see fit. I'm certain that there are those that will disagree with me on that. And I'd love to see your comments or ways in which you share your gifts with others. Please feel free to comment below. Remember, those that comment get entered into the giveaway at the end of the season. This season we will be doing 2 giveaways. I'll talk more about that in my farewell video, because we did not do a giveaway for this last season and we had a bunch of kind of bad stuff going down. So just know that there will be 2 giveaways this season. I'm afraid that the giveaways are mostly open to the US only, just because of shipping. It's going to depend. It's going to depend on what I can work out. I might be able to work something out where if the person is overseas, we can use some of our contacts overseas to get something there and get you going. But shipping has gotten absolutely ridiculous. So I'll decide on that once the winners are drawn. We'll work something out one way or the other. So feel free to comment, please. We'd love to have your feedback. Those that are engaging will definitely be involved in the giveaway. So thank you so very much and have a great day.